Watch out, this podcast may contain adult content. So, if you're not a mature audience, maybe go audience somewhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Case, an investigative television podcast with me and Casey. We're going deep on all the characters remaining in Game of Thrones ahead of the final season, but as always, this show is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment, and they are the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. You can check out more information, get the full guest list at escomiccon.com. Final note, who's me? I'm Elijah, and you know what? I'm not important at all, because we're here to talk about our favorite, our saltiest sea captain, our onionist knight, Davos Seaworth. Casey, tell us about Davos Seaworth.
Oh man, Davos Seaworth in an ocean of amazing characters has become my favorite of many.
So we're doing your favorite character today.
He is my favorite character. Yeah.
Like, is it not close, or is it like?
It's really not.
Okay.
It's really not. I feel like he's the moral compass of the show in a lot of ways. I feel like he's the dad I always wanted. He's so old and he's wise. He gives the best advice. He's unbudging on his ethics and
his morals.
Yeah, everything that makes him who he is unwavering. But he's also not like a Boy Scout type character. You can see a lot of yourself in him. He's not perfect, but he aspires to be.
Yeah, he'll bribe a knight in a flea bottom area. He'll bribe.
Yeah, I mean he'd slice a throat if he had to, but he got to be the Onion Knight by being the one person who would do something good in a terrible situation, even though it was almost certain death. And for people that don't know, back during Robert's Rebellion, when Stannis and his family were trapped in Storm's End by the Tyrells, who were still loyal to the throne at the time, he snuck in and used his pirating skills and his smuggling skills to bring them, I believe it was onions and some pork.
Yeah.
And some salted pork, I think it was. And so he snuck in through this armada of ships in the night through the fog, brought them food when they were starving, and Stannis says they were eating the horses, they ate the mice, they had eaten everything and they were starving, and he saved their lives. So he, of course, being Stannis, gave him the knighthood and called him the Onion Knight because of bringing the onions, but also because...
Took 4 fingers.
Yeah, because he's a smuggler and technically he broke the law. Stannis can't even just take the nice gesture and chops his fingers off.
Yo, bro, we didn't have to eat your daughter. She gets to live to be burned later.
Yeah, exactly. And Davos, being the guy he is, doesn't get all disgruntled about it. He stands by Stannis' side, praises him for bringing him up from Flea Bottom to be somebody.
And sticks by his side through a lot of bad Stannis decisions.
Yeah, but never is shy about giving his opinion that Stannis is wrong either, and gets thrown in a cell a few times about it. He even wears the knuckles around his neck.
In a pouch.
To remind himself every day to stay humble and to remember where he came from.
Did he lose those in the Battle of the Blackwater? Did he lose the pouch?
Okay. He did. Yeah, when he got in the water.
The fire burned up the fingers, but Davos lived or he lost it.
Yeah,
okay. I was just wondering. I was like, I can't remember seeing it recently. But
no, but that's a big part of who he is that he went from nothing to something, never forgot who he was, and never took it for granted. And that's part of why I love him so much.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because right now, we're kind of just giving you a refresher on who Davos Seaworth is. You guys probably are familiar with Davos, because he's on screen a lot, and he's been in the show for so long now, since season 2. He's been with a lot of different characters, and has had a lot of different opportunities for the audience to cheer for him to become a crowd favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like he's really been in that role for almost the entire time he's been on the show.
Absolutely.
But when did he become your favorite character? Was this immediately? Was this through book reading? Was this on the show? Was this just something when did you realize, I guess?
He's great in the books as much as he is in the show. I feel like when I realized he was someone that I could never really root against was when they were north of the wall, or at the wall, and he would not go with Stannis on his march, and he wanted to protect Shireen she was his own daughter, because he loses his son in the show, but in the book he loses 3 sons, all of his sons pretty much. And so he's almost got this surrogate father relationship with Shireen that she never had with Stannis. Mm-hmm. And so he wanted to protect her, and she was the last kind of child of his for him to protect. And when he loses her, against his wishes of keeping Melisandre away from her and keeping her safe at the wall, and Stannis insists she goes, and he feels weird about it the whole time. That whole thing just broke my heart for him. and he's so good. And then like he's with Jon now, and he totally like hasn't done a ton to earn Jon's trust, but he still demands like the Red Woman's like head on a pike from Jon, and he's gonna do it himself and shit. And like he's unwaveringly Davos.
He got a lot of clout really quickly with Jon, which is like I don't know. Jon like immediately trusts him, and he's like his right hand man.
I think when you're dealing with Stannis, and then you see this guy next to him who's really kind, but also stern, and also gives great advice, and he's not listening to him. Like he's taking this great advice and just throwing it in the trash. I think Jon noticed that and realized this is someone I could trust because he'll tell me what I don't want to hear if it's the right thing.
Do you think Jon trusts him so much because he effectively was responsible for Jon's resurrection? Like,
in a way.
Like the protection, going to get the other people to keep the room locked, having the foresight to get Ghost to like guard the body too, and then him. I mean, Davos ultimately is the one who convinces the Red Woman to do the resurrection. So, I mean, I guess he's probably pretty close to Davos because he's one of the first people he interacted with when he was brought back from the dead.
Yeah.
I think that's probably tied up into it, and he's one of the few people who knows the truth of all that.
Yeah, and the fact that Davos used the Red Woman to help save someone who was worth saving, even though he hates the Red Woman.
Yeah.
He found a way to use her in a positive way, which is kind of interesting, too, because he kind of put his personal feelings aside to make that happen.
Yeah. Okay, so we last see him at Eastwatch. Mm-hmm. I presume that he leaves with Jon and Dany and heads back to Dragonstone and then back to Winterfell.
Yeah.
In that where they're going in that little crew, because he wouldn't have stayed. No, we would have seen him if he stayed, because they showed Beric and Tormund on top of the wall, like running on the wall to get probably back to Castle Black. But that was probably definitely with.
I think he's become sort of the hand to the king.
The Tyrion of the Tyrion of Jon.
Yeah, what Tyrion is to Daenerys, he is to Jon now, I think.
Oh man, I would just love to see it like if like Jon becomes the king at the end, like Tyrion's the hand of the king, and then Davos is like the master of ships or something like or
that'd be
the
nice.
captain of the gold cloaks, or he gets one of those like what was it? Is the master of whispers the Davos would be an excellent master of whispers.
No, because he's not deceitful.
But that's what I mean. Like that would be like a change of pace for where the kingdom is heading.
I think if we lived in a world without a master of whispers, it'd be a better world.
Okay.
The world that the Daenerys and Jon will try to build anyway.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I need a master of whispers.
I think he should be the hand. I like Tyrion. Everyone likes Tyrion, but I will take like -3 on cleverness with that moral compass that he has.
Okay.
And sometimes you got to play dirty to win, and I get that. But Davos is.
Well, the other thing,
a little bit better.
Like if this was a Dungeons and Dragons character sheet, like you're saying, the -3 on like the charisma or like the clever or whatever.
Sure.
I think Davos's luck meter is all the way up, like
sure.
to infinity. He's one of the luckiest characters.
For someone with 4 fingers and no sons, I guess he's pretty lucky.
Who's a bad fighter? Like
he's not much of a fighter, and that's another thing I like.
Best friend is a sex pirate. Like
Like when he's there to protect Jon's body before they know he's going to come back, and the Night's Watch, all the traitors and jerks are there trying to break the door down. He says like, "I'm not much of a fighter, but I'm sorry for what you're about to see," because he's like, "I'm going to fight even if I'm going to lose."
Yeah.
And in that moment, he's fighting for someone he's only known for a little while because he knows it's the right thing to do. He got betrayed by his people, and he knew that wasn't right. Like that was fundamentally wrong. It's just another great moment that shows his true character, that he'd be willing to lay his life down for the right thing, even though he doesn't have a personal stake in the fight.
Okay, so then you said that's a kind of like a great moment. So what are his best and worst moments would you say for Davos in the show?
Oh man, I think the best moment is so hard. I love
a lot of his stuff is like understated. It's like little quips. It's like little it's like little background, like his the fewer thing, like you know what I'm talking about? The less fewer thing, like where he corrects the grammar because Stannis corrected him.
Yeah.
And then he does the same thing to Melisandre or Missandei when they're walking at the thing. Yeah, like it's like one of those things where it's just like this like
fatherly
little
moment.
It's like this little like bit of spice that he.
And if anyone else said that to Missandei because she's so beautiful, you'd think he was like being a creepy old man flirting. But with Davos, he's just being like fatherly and like he has that wisdom that just exudes out of him, but he's not like pompous about it. I think my favorite moments with Davos are the moments where he shows his humanity and his humility. I think when he saves Gendry, because he just got out of the damn dungeon after being there and being fed gruel and shit. Like he gets out of the dungeon,
his freedom immediately.
Yeah, like the first thing he does is go like, "Hey, what you guys are doing is fucked up. I'm letting this kid go in the middle of the night." And he's like, and the kid's like, "Won't they kill you?" He's like, whatever. Whatever happens to me is fine. I can't live with what's happening to you.
Yeah.
That's a great moment. And I think saving Jon for sure in that room with the sword drawn, and I'm not much of a fighter.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
My favorite thing for him is just the scene where he confronts the Red Woman for the first, like that, like just like he discovers the horse, and like you like near the burning pine, and you're just like, oh crap, something's gonna go down.
Yeah.
And when it does, like I feel like it is really rewarding. Like just the conflict, the scene, his acting, like just in general, the actor just killing it. I mean,
it's a very earned moment. In that moment, like Jon is about to sentence someone to death, because he knows it's wrong too. But like she talks her way out of it, says that she has a part to play and all that. I mean, it's pretty earned. I think another great moment for Davos that's overlooked because it didn't end up mattering a lot is Stannis has lost everything, and he has one shot left to win this war, and it's to get the Bank of Bravos to back him.
Yes.
And they're not going to back him. He's a loser. He has this home in Dragonstone with no natural resources. Half of his men have fled him, or fled him before to his brother and then died, and all the stuff, Battle of Blackwater, all that. He's at ground. He's at rock bottom. And Davos uses his charisma, because he is charismatic. I was more saying, like, compared to Tyrion, he's a little lacking. But he is a great person to have on your side.
He's definitely a people person. He's not like, peering over his glasses, like being more intelligent than you. He's like a man of the people, and that's why people trust him, or give him that respect, or like you said, he definitely has charm. Like that's a great scene when he convinces the Bank of Bravos to give them money again.
A lot of money. I mean, a whole army's worth of money, and he uses that story about losing his fingers as part of like a character building thing for Stannis to say, hey, this is a guy you can trust because he's not just a great battle strategist. He may not be the most charismatic, but he's a great leader, and he always does the right thing, even if it's painful. Even if it's painful to the ones he loves or people he trusts or whatever. So I think that was a great moment because it showed that he's someone that if you got him on your side, you got a fighting chance. He might not be much of a fighter, but he's a great talker.
So we're talking about the top moments. We haven't said many worst moments because obviously it's your favorite character, and I feel like Davos probably hasn't had many like bad moments in the show. I think I didn't love the dialogue when when he realizes the dragonfire is gonna blow up or go off the wildfire.
Yeah.
So when he's like steer clear like that scene is just a little goofy to me. So from like a production standpoint, that's like a low point for me. But I think what we're missing is his worst moment is every time he plays his good friend Salladhor Saan, the sex pirate, and plays him like a fiddle with the gold, and ultimately just gets all his boats blown up and just ruins his entire legion of pirate ships. It's a bad look. We're friends.
That friendship's on thin ice.
I would never do that to you, Casey.
Thank you.
If you were in a brothel enjoying yourself, I would never recruit you into a war that you don't care about.
Thank you.
I want you to know that.
Thank you. I would rather be in a hot tub with a bunch of beautiful ladies in Bravos than take a bunch of gold and potentially die in wildfire.
Yeah, because we never see him again, so he's probably very dead.
Oh, I don't think he's dead. He's alive after that because his ships were behind the first part of the Armada. So he lives, because I think he bumps into him again when they're in Bravos, when he gets the money for Stannis again. But I can't remember exactly. But I don't think he's dead. I just think
I don't think we've seen him since.
He's like done doing favors for Davos for sure. Because I mean, it'd be an important character to know if he died or not. But I think that moment is kind of cheesy in the show where he's like sees it. But I think it's because the way they filmed it, it's supposed to look like it's like slow motion.
Yeah.
So he's like, wildfire. Like everyone's supposed to be like, oh shit, and then everything blows up in his face. I think that's. The worst moment is inside that moment where he watches his brave, noble son die. Yeah. And he's in the water, and then he's like, when he's stuck on that rock for a while.
That's a low light for him.
He does not. I think, like, for me.
Fishers come up to, like, who do you fight for? And it's
like,
ugh.
And he doesn't lie.
No.
Again. He goes, the one true king, Stannis. And they're like, and he's just lucky. That is the luck meter.
Yeah, I know. I told you, man. He got the highest luck meter.
Like, he's like, God damn it, this is going to get me killed, but I'm going to say Stannis because I'm not a liar. And I'm not going to die a liar. But I felt like when he's on that rock for a while and the sun's roasting him and he's thirsty and he's beaten up and he's burned, I feel like in that moment he kind of is mad that he's alive. Yeah. Because I feel like he felt like he didn't deserve to be alive. If his son's gone, he was at the forefront of that armada, and they got beat soundly, and I feel like he felt guilty for being alive. He had like survivor's remorse. And I felt like that was probably the lowest ever, and maybe even when he was in the dungeon after trying to do the right thing and say don't follow this red woman anymore, and But, if he's going to die, he's going to die doing the right thing.
You made me realize that, no other character is the same level of honorable, but also shisty. Because, Stannis will do some stuff to survive, but also he's super honorable. And, there's other characters that are more, shisty and sneaky and, will do some bad stuff like Qyburn. I feel like his doing dubious meter is at max.
Well, his loyalty also is all over the place.
Yeah, true. But it's just interesting that, Stannis can be so honorable, but also so shady. I don't know if I want to say shady or sneaky, but willing to do what is necessary to survive.
He'll do ugly things to win. I mean, he gave birth to a shadow baby. He was a part of killing his own brother, which, and if you watch the show and you read a little bit about it and you understand the folklore behind, one of the worst things you can do.
You mean Stannis was a part of killing his own brother?
Yeah, Stannis was. Yeah, and I mean,
I'm saying Davos is honorable and
definitely. But if you kill your own family, there is a special place in hell, basically, in the Game of Thrones universe.
And Davos is a party to that. He didn't really want to be, but he rode her out there.
Yeah, well, he didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah,
I don't think he understood, and I think, that was part of why he...
if Stannis would have sat him down and put his hand on his shoulder and was like, hey, bro, so a shadow baby's going to emerge from her lady temple, and just...
Right in your face, and then go kill my brother. And that's the thing, too, is I think Stannis didn't know all of it, but he just knew that if I do this, it gets me here by killing my brother and getting half my army back. Yeah. And that's all he cared about was winning. And I think that he's stern, but not a good person.
Yeah.
And I think Davos can only be stern to a degree where it starts to interfere with who he is as a person. And then he's like, you know what? It's not worth it. And he'll do the right thing instead.
Okay, so then what would be worth it for Stannis? What is his happiest ending?
You mean for Davos?
Yeah, for Davos. Oh, man, I said Stannis.
I know. There's so many characters.
We started talking about Stannis, and that's...
For Davos, I think being the Hand of the King, I think he deserves it. I think... I don't think love is in his future, necessarily. I don't think he needs that to feel... You know? I think if he finally was serving a ruler that was worthy and that actually took his goddamn advice and, used it so he wasn't just, giving all this good advice and having it fall on deaf ears, I think that would be a place where he could really do some good and help people. I think help all those people in Flea Bottom where he came from, live good lives, and maybe even build it into some sort of democracy. I feel like the voice of reason.
Casey, you're living way too Disney right now. What I need from you is I need more brutality. I need the red woman's head lopped off inside of a pouch that he carries around on his neck.
That's definitely...
This is the happiest ending.
That's definitely on the way. Okay, he's not going to, wear her. He's not a Fen or something.
We know that he's prone to wearing limbs around his neck.
That was for humility purposes.
I'm just saying.
I mean, definitely
chop off
the red woman needs to die. I think if she does have some sort of all-important purpose, she has to fulfill that, and he'll let that happen. But then once everything's done and the world is saved... He's going to be like, for your fucking crimes, you deserve way worse than this, and then kills her.
He's just going to come up with the little knife and just...
Yeah. And I think that'll be fine for her, too, because as we know, she's 400-something years old. So I think when she served her purpose, she's not going to be afraid of death, and she'll be glad that she got to see the end or whatever. But, yeah, I think he needs that for closure because of what happened to Shireen.
Okay, so happy ending for him is closure with Red Woman.
Yeah.
/ being an advisor to whoever the person in power is.
Yeah, a wise ruler who uses him to his full capacity.
King Tyrion and Hand of the King Davos.
It could be Jon, too. John's kind of like him, too, where he does the right thing even though it's, stupid sometimes.
They're such a good match, those two.
Yeah, because, he'll be a little less stubborn and broody about it and be like, hey, Jon, I know you're trying to do the right thing here, bud, but maybe just kneel. Or maybe just, chill. I don't know.
I love the...
Don't say exactly what you're thinking all the time.
Yeah, I love the... this is peak Davos stuff, but, when he's in the chamber and they meet Daenerys for the first time, and they're like, Daenerys, titles, titles, titles. And I'm like, yo, this is Jon. What up? He's a king.
Yeah, he's a king now.
He's a king.
I know, I love that.
Yeah. He's not a breaker of the chains. He's not the horse
Mother
that
dragons.
He won't mount the world. He's not the great stallion of the...
But he might be Azor Ahai. Yeah. Just no one knows yet.
All right. So, what's the saddest ending Do you even want to think about this because I know it's your favorite?
Well, I mean, it hurts, but that's part of Game of Thrones, right? You love that this show can bring you to the amazing heights that it does, and then rip your goddamn heart out and stomp on it.
When someone's holding a door. Yeah, you're just like, oh, why?
Oh, man.
Okay, so...
Or having a wedding.
Yeah, sad. Okay, so sad ending for Davos.
Sad ending for Davos would be... his name's forgotten in the history books, that all his sacrifices are for nothing, and he ends up getting sentenced to death by another unruly ruler. Like, imagine if Cersei
wins, and then she
executes him.
And it's not even like it's like a prestigious execution. It's just like he's just one of 40 that are just like, it's just like with him, Bronn, Pod, Bree. Yeah, that's just all.
Anyone who served the false King Jon Snow or the false Queen Daenerys or the false King Stannis, and he's just lumped in a mass death. Some sort of like...
And the red woman's the hand
thing.
Of the queen.
Oh, God, I know. She's like, can anyone speak for this man? And then she looks at the red woman and she goes, no. He's of no consequence, and just execute. That would be horrible.
Yeah.
Because he's so worthy of a better ending than that, you know? Or he has some sort of kinship with another, like, young person, and has to watch them
that's
die,
Gendry. He's like sitting there in the stockades watching Gendry in like a gladiatorial arena, and they just keep sending guys at Gendry until he gets murdered.
Oh, God. Yeah, or they burn him with wildfire, or whatever Cersei could dream up.
She concocts some sort of
horrible thing.
Mad King thing with the what is it, the rope behind the back thing.
Yeah.
And
the more he struggles, the more he dies.
Yeah, the more you struggle, the more you suffocate. Yeah.
Yeah, because after he lost his sons and Shireen, if he had to lose another person, a young person who he's made sacrifices for and tried to help be safe, that would probably be the low point of his life. Okay. I think at that point he'd be like, I give up. Just let me die. Okay.
So we kind of addressed this before. We don't think Davos is going to end up with anyone. There's no romantic entanglements for him.
I don't see that for him. It's just not really like on his radar.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like him to be happy. He has a wife in the books. They don't really talk about it in the show, and he hasn't seen her in so long. I don't think that she either A, would be alive, or B, it would be of no consequence.
I could see him getting a wife of just a region. So like they give him River Run, or they give him the Twins, or they give him a castle, and with that castle comes a lady.
Royal marriage.
Yeah, because the Freys are all dead, but probably not the women. I don't think Arya. She just killed all the men, right?
Yeah.
So there's probably a Lady Frey who is still in charge of the Twins. Like maybe they married Davos off to her, or they marry. Oh, he still has a wife though, doesn't he?
I don't know. They don't talk about it. Like they don't say if she's dead or not.
Yeah,
but like if he has a wife still, he hasn't seen her in like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
So yeah, but I could really see him having some castle. Like he gets the Tarly's castle. He gets. I think he's going to get some sort of.
I think part of his character is that he's very adventurous, even though he's older. You know, he was a smuggler. You know, I think he likes like being part of things. So I think he'd rather be an advisor to someone in their castle than have a castle of his own. I think that's a little too boring for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's learned from so many good rulers. Like, I kind of personally, like me as a fan, I want to see him leave King's Landing behind and leave the struggle behind and get to go live the simple life.
Sure.
So like for me, I'm like in my head, I'm just like, yeah, I just love to see him get a castle, because like in Harry Potter becomes like an Auror at the end of all this stuff. But I'm like in my brain, I'm like, I wish that he would have been the headmaster of Hogwarts. That seemed where he belonged. And so like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like you think that he should be an advisor? Yeah, like what we want versus what they deserve. Exactly. Well, also, so that's the question.
He'll never think he deserves anything.
No,
he's
you're
so
right.
Lowly
You're right.
And so earnest. He does mention to Missandei when he talks to her about the Summer House that he hears how beautiful it is down there. I could see him just going off on a boat. And just
I would love to see him go off onto the sunset.
Yeah.
Maybe we see Salador walk up. They hold hands.
Maybe him and Tyrion are like he is like the hand to Tyrion. But Tyrion isn't the king. He's just doing like the Imps Delight wine over in Castle Rock
He's
area.
the jester.
Yeah, he's just like, no, they're just chilling, drinking wine. He's like, I like this brew. Send it out, whatever.
You just gave me the most unlikely Hand of the King / like combo. I want Tyrion to win the throne, and then I want Jorah to be his hand.
Man.
That'd be terrible.
I bet if Davos was ever Tyrion's hand, Tyrion would definitely make a joke like, well, you could be the half hand of the king.
Yeah, you can be my stub. You can be the stub of the king.
The stubs of the king.
The stubs. This is incredible. The knuckle of the king.
Knuckles
of the king. You're the knuckles of the king.
He's like, I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take any power. All right, cool. Let's talk about the main thing going into this last season.
Okay.
Is he gonna live or is he gonna die?
I think live. I think, like you said, his luck meter's off the charts.
It is.
I think he's a person that people don't want to see die. He's not like a fighter, so it doesn't make sense for him to have some sort of battle, moment where he sacrifices himself. I think he's there at the end. I think he's one of the people that the world needs going forward to have a more civilized, diplomatic approach to how this country is run.
Yeah. Game of Thrones is brutal.
Yeah.
So that's something I want to keep in mind here.
I know.
And he has very little plot armor. He serves no final purpose in the way that Bran might or Sam might. Like, there's certain people where you're like, well, they still have to do X, Y, or Z before. And so with Davos, I can't see that path. So I do think that he could die. I don't think he will because he is a fan favorite. But like if they were to kill him, it would be, or I feel like the character would be sacrificing himself in a way or doing something to save someone. Like you said, that he's very paternal in that way. But like, it kind of just feels like to me, it's just like the writers being mean. Like, why would you do this to it? Like, it's at this point we're past like him living or dying being a part of the the different story. Yeah, because now that all the stories have kind of combined, there's no real. I don't know. It's not that there's real weight to that because we'll still be sad. But as an audience, I feel like why are you guys doing this to us? Like, why are you being mean?
Well, you need more wise men, and if you lump him in with like the wise advisor people, right now the ones that stand out the most are Tyrion, Davos, and Sam. Mm-hmm. Those are the three people that, like, if they were each like helping out, respectively, like the three rulers.
Jorah's like the leader of the King's Guard.
He's a warrior. He's not a super smart person. He's more of a brute, especially in the books. But in the show, there's a little more humanity to him. But but that doesn't make him replaceable to me, because I think the world going forward will need that.
Yeah,
he could die, but I think when you take everything away from a character over and over and over, there has to be some sort of comeuppance at the end.
Some let up. Yeah, some like...
It's like Cersei's gotten away with so much over the years that she has to die.
Yeah.
And this guy has gotten his family taken away from him, his surrogate family taken away from him, his knuckles taken away from his fingers, like everything. So at a certain point, there has to be a glimmer of hope at the end that all his sacrifices made him who he is so that he can live to serve a better purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think so.
So you think he will live?
I do.
I'm going to say he's going to die.
Okay.
I don't want that.
Bet.
But that's our burrito bet for the episode.
All right.
Yeah, because and if you haven't listened to the other podcasts that we've done about Game of Thrones characters, Casey's on the page of it ends with there being more of a democracy.
I think so.
Yeah, and even though the show is about progress and things changing, I am more of the page that I do think there will be like a king on the throne, and we will have someone in the Pycelle role, someone in the Littlefinger role, someone in the Varys role, and someone in the Jaime role. Like, we're going to have, of the characters we have, we're going to fill out the roster of the advisors of the king. I can't even remember what that's called. I know they all have...
Small council.
Yeah, small council, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we will have another small council.
It'd be cool to see, like, a beautiful version of the small council, because it's always full of, like, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, so Sam and Pycelle, that's Pycelle.
Yeah, and, Tyrion and all that. But like,
Davos could be Littlefinger.
Ugh, I don't like that. But I don't know. For me, I think the democracy makes more sense because of one sentence that one person has said.
What's that?
Daenerys doesn't want to like change which wheel peg it's on. She wants to
break
the wheel. And I think she is so obsessed with being on that throne, but I think that she gets wiser as the show goes on, and she sees sometimes, like, she saw that conquering Westeros wasn't important right now when she found out about the White Walker situation. Mm-hmm. And so she threw everything she's got over there and was like, hey, Cersei, time out. Let's go over here and deal with the real problem, and then we can quarrel amongst ourselves. But the world has to be saved for one of us to end up ruling it. And I think she's becoming wise enough to know that throne doesn't mean as much. I think it's meant a lot to her whole life, but she sees what it does to people, especially her brother and even other Targaryens like her father, who, like, it doesn't mean what it used to mean. And to break the wheel in a way that's really important is to not do what Aegon did in the first place and connect all 7 kingdoms under his ruling, but to break them back up and to give them all a say. Mm-hmm. And that way you build a system that's way less corruptible, because it's more fair, it's more balanced, and it's not all in one place. And I don't think King's Landing will be King's Landing anymore. I don't think there'll be a throne. I think she'll use Dragonfire to burn it up or something, and like that throne's going to melt to a puddle at the end of this.
Casey, we are at odds, because I vehemently disagree. But see, I like what you're saying. It's a beautiful world. It's very Disney. I like it.
It's how George R. R. Martin thinks too.
Okay.
He's a very forward-thinking person. He puts a lot of women in power in his stories.
You're right.
I think he wants to see that the error of the past won't repeat itself again.
In my head, they call it the Song of Ice and Fire, and that's what Jon is. So I can't see a world where Jon's not on the throne. Now, Daenerys, I think, and we'll of course cover this more in our Daenerys episode when we talk about her specifically.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a chance that she stays in Westeros. I think she goes back to Essos because she left the liberating and slavery mission on like 25% completion. Like we all see her Xbox Live score, and it's like she's 27% through the game. So I can't in my head see a version of this story where she stays in Westeros. I think she comes, saves it, leaves, goes back to Essos to finish her. I could see the last scene being like her running into a period and just Dario's laying there naked, and he's just like, "You're back, my queen," and she's like, "Yes, Dario." I know that's terrible.
Well, think about this.
That probably won't happen.
What did you just say though? Like you said, she left it incomplete, and to a degree she did, but like people were so sick of her being in Essos, they wanted her in Westeros already.
Yeah.
But think about what she did in Essos. She found a system that was corrupted, that was ruled by a very few over lots, and she flipped that whole thing on its head. So why wouldn't she want to do the same thing in Westeros?
I think if
that's where her moral compass lies.
We're gonna leave this on pause because we're gonna talk about this more
in the Daenerys episode.
In the Daenerys episode. Sure. But yes, I see what you're saying.
But even that's foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah. I see what you're saying though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see that democracy. Wow, we've really talked a lot more about other people than Davos for the last 5 minutes.
Well, Davos has a lot of connections.
He does. He is one of the most connected people right now.
For sure.
As
the world gets smaller, his fingerprints are all over this story.
I gotta ask you, is he Azor Ahai?
Definitely not.
Okay. Yeah, there's no way.
No, I don't think so. I think his purpose is not that.
He can't even hold the flaming sword. He doesn't even have the fingers to do it.
He's not much of a fighter, so you wouldn't want him to be the fighter of all fighters, savior of humanity.
He just comes through and he's just like doing the link up B with the flaming sword just spinning through crowds.
I mean, that'd be pretty crazy too. I mean, in some level, I want everyone to be Azor Ahai, but there can only be one. So yeah,
Can you imagine if it got just like super campy and like Daenerys just like Azor Ahai Rangers, and then everyone's just like and their swords, all their swords just light up on fire. They're all just like, no, that'd be garbage.
I'd be so mad.
Yeah. Okay. Any final theories for our guy Davos about what he's doing, where he's going, actions?
I don't know. I think that wherever he lands, I hope that he can escape sort of his failings in the past. They weren't really his failings, but he was following people and giving this advice to people that failed. I think he takes a lot of that upon himself just because who he is. Mm-hmm. And I hope that he can find some sort of peace in a world that's better for his sacrifices.
All right, I got a theory for you.
Go for it.
Davos is going to die saving Gendry.
Gendry? Could work. Yeah.
I don't want it to be.
Yeah. I mean, he's tried to save everyone that he's had that paternal relationship with.
What if Red Woman saves Davos' life? And she dies saving him?
What if he saves Gendry by killing the Red Woman because she wants to sacrifice him? Again. In a big fire or something.
It's like, yo, Jon, here's the thing.
He's like, every time I turn my goddamn back.
And then Jon's just like, no, we're not. Like, look, I'm going to listen to Davos. Last time you burned someone, didn't really work out. And then Daenerys is like, now wait, what is this about burning people alive? Because I am a fan of that.
Yeah, I want to.
Can you imagine?
What if it was like Lord of the Rings too, like where he's trying to burn Faramir and then like he gets kicked into the fire himself.
Oh,
you know, with the Steward of Gondor, that'd be so awesome. If like the Red Woman's like, we make this beautiful sacrifice. If it's so beautiful, boom, just kick that bitch on the fire and be like, you can take the sacrifice.
She gets like Leonidas Spartan right into the fire by Davos.
This is Westeros.
Yeah, if that was the scene, I'd just give it to him. If Davos just comes over as a shot-for-shot remake of Leonidas doing the kick, but it's Davos doing the kick.
God. I'd make it rain Emmys. I would just be like, Emmys for you, Emmys.
We love it.
Best episode ever.
Memes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. We're going to do another episode here in just a few minutes. We'll be back. But thank you guys, as always, for listening to On the Case with Casey, this beautiful man here with the beard.
Oh, thanks.
And then me, Elijah. As always, this show is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They make a convention. It's going to be in the Showboat Hotel Casino. It's this is in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah.
Fun place.
EpicComicCon.com. Check it out. Full guest list. Lou Ferrigno is going. Are you?
Yes.
I want to go.
Yes. It sounds awesome.
I would like to Hulk out.
Oh yeah. In Atlantic City?
Yeah, man.
Call me there.
All right. We will see you guys soon. Or we will speak to you soon? Is that what you said?
I don't know.
You'll hear us soon.
We'll be talking more soon.
Okay, bye!
Bye.